the most important drive for Omuramba Impact Investing is to look at social issues in the country and see how we can make a difference, how can we change, how we can make things better.
6 minutes going after 11 in the morning on your favorite radio station. It's 99 FM, Nashan in the morning. We're bringing you MYD Earth much earlier than usual. That's okay. Joining us, of course, today on MYD Earth is Dr Eline van der Linden, a development economist with a solid track record in economic development across various sectors in Namibia and Southern Africa. Eline has been running her company Omuramba Impact Investing since 2014, which seeks to make a difference in the lives of Namibians by promoting water-friendly sanitation and professionalizing student accommodation as well. She also provides professional economic consulting services, and among other qualities, she is conversant with development challenges and opportunities in Namibia and beyond. And her aim is to actually, add good value to transformational and growth opportunity processes in both public and private sector entities. Eline made Namibia her home just after independence in June 1990. So that's about 32 years? 32 years ago. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Eline. How are you doing?
Thank you, Nashan. I'm doing well, yes, and thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to our chat about toilets.
Definitely. I'm also looking forward to that. How's the cold weather treating you outside?
The cold weather is not my favorite, but
Not your favorite.
in the day it warms up.
All right.
It's fine, yeah.
Let's get right into it. What made you invest, time and energy into the promotion of water-friendly sanitation in Namibia?
Okay, well, the most important drive for Omuramba Impact Investing is to look at social issues in the country and see how we can make a difference, how can we change, how we can make things better.
Yeah.
I came here as a development economist. I was 21 years old, full of, energy and full of enthusiasm for development.
Yeah.
And I think I've maintained that a little bit over the years. So when you look around in Namibia and you go into the informal settlements, you go into the rural areas, you find a lot of people without toilets. Open defecation is a real big issue in Namibia, and we haven't figured it out yet. How to address that. So looking at a social issue, you then start looking at how can we address this social issue. Can we use flush toilets? Probably not, because there's not enough water. In many of the high density or ultra high density areas, water still comes through a communal tap, with maybe your AVM card, but it's still communal water. It's not coming out of your tap in your house.
Right.
And water is expensive and water is scarce. So let's look at a different way of dealing with our daily sanitation needs, because everyone needs to go to the toilet. You can't kind of, say, okay, well, that's a luxury. We can kind of leave that one behind.
Yeah.
So, in that process, I became very interested in water-friendly sanitation solutions. And also with the company that I worked with, Millennium Challenge Account, we needed to find a solution for the high water table areas in the north central region at schools. The VIP toilets, the ventilated improved pit latrines, they were literally popping out of the ground. So we said we need to look for an alternative that will not contaminate the groundwater and it will stay in the ground. So we did an investigation with, looking at lots of different systems. And eventually the EnviroLoop came out as the system that we wanted to use. So that's how I met the EnviroLoop.
Yeah.
It was many years ago, maybe in 2013, 14, somewhere there.
Okay.
And then I said, when the MCA project closed, I said, well, let me see if I can continue promoting water-friendly sanitation for Namibia as a solution, maybe not a final solution, maybe an in the meantime solution. And at the end of the day, we're not trying to compete with flush toilets. I mean,
for sure.
it is the gold standard or the Rolls Royce of the toilet.
Of the toilet.
A flush toilet, but we have to be realistic in Namibia in terms of water availability, in terms of sewage systems. Do we have the systems to actually receive the water with all the deposits in there? And also the cost of water and the cost of the whole system of getting the effluence into a good place. So, because I've just looked at some tenders again. I saw in the Karas region they're looking for honeysuckers to actually go to different schools, different institutions to suck out the yak that has been collected because of use of water.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So this system, you're calling it EnviroLoo. How does an EnviroLoo work, and what are the benefits of this type of toilet?
Okay, the EnviroLoo combines two technologies, dehydration and biodigestion. So that is, I think, the beauty of this system. I'm going to take an analogy to your garden and your dog.
Okay.
So when your dog does number two. It's difficult to talk about toilets and still use the right words.
Very much.
And be diplomatic, etc. When they do number two, the liquid goes into the ground and only number two stays on top of the ground.
Sure.
Stinks a little bit at the beginning, but very soon you don't smell anything anymore. So what makes number two smell so badly is because of the liquid. The liquid and the solid is together. So what we do in our toilet, we separate the liquid and the solids. So number one goes through a drying plate to the bottom of the waste container. Number two stays behind. And number two gets then dehydrated by a whole system of airflow in the container so that number two gets dry as fast as possible. And then we also use enzymes and some fertilizer to get the whole biodigestive system going.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, when after about a year or so, the first waste is at the back of the container. You can scoop it out. I remember, it really sounds all very horrible, but I had a sleepless night the first time we had to empty out a toilet. It was in Kadatura where we had a pilot going.
Okay.
And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? And then we went, and I went with Ephraim, my left and right hand in the toilet project, and it was nothing. It was literally dry. It was like compost, dry. It didn't smell. We could just kind of lift it out of the back of the toilet, put it in plastic bags, and we took it to the Kupferberg, and they even said at Kupferberg, no, that's not dangerous waste, just put it with the garden waste.
Wow.
So that is basically what it gets to. And mind you, the waste shrinks by about 95%. So
What?
it is a fancy toilet, even though it doesn't use any water. Okay, one of the other good things about the EnviroLoo is that it doesn't use chemicals. Because the first thing people always say when they talk about water friendly or no water toilets. Does it use chemicals? No, we don't use chemicals.
Wow.
We only use agricultural lime, what you also use as fertilizer in agriculture. We use the power of the sun. We use the power of the wind, the air, and then we use gravity because the drying plate has like an inclination, and the way slowly but surely, moves down with a little bit of help of the energy of a person who maintains the toilet. So if you have a very high use toilet, maybe you need to rake once a week. If you have a low use toilet, maybe once a month. So it all depends a little bit on the utilization of the toilet.
Wow, that is pretty interesting. I'm listening to you and I'm trying to, I don't even know why I'm imagining it in my head, but what are some of the challenges that you have with working with the system, with the EnviroLoo system?
Okay, well, obviously a key challenge is that it has a limited number of users per toilet. You can't have hundreds of people use that toilet because you can't hurry nature. The sun shines only so many hours a day. The wind only blows that much. And gravity we can't change either.
Right.
So we have three different models. We have a domestic model for up to 10 permanent users. Then we have a communal model that's up to 20 permanent users. And then we have a bulk model that is good for 30 users. And according to the World Health Organization, people go to the toilet 3.5 times a day on average. I don't know if that's true, but that is what they say. So our biggest model can handle 105 users in a day.
Wow.
So you can't, for example, put the toilet at a festival, a pop festival or whatever, and then hope that everything goes fine, because that doesn't make sense. But we can, in school environments, we can work around it. We can work around it in more remote locations, at household level. And, there can be one day that you have a little bit more use, but that is one of the challenges. And another challenge, I think, is that in Namibia, we are a bit slow in adapting new technologies.
Okay.
It takes a very, very long time for people to accept new technology in terms of construction material, in terms of now these toilets. And that is a big challenge to let people make that mind shift and say, look, are we going to continue using normal electricity, or are we going to use solar power? I kind of look at the water-friendly sanitation space a little bit like the solar power space. It took quite a bit of time in Namibia for people to start using solar. And if you recall, the Ministry of Mines and Energy had a whole incentive package for people to start buying the solar, because it's expensive. Yeah. And that's another thing with Envirolu. People think a toilet that doesn't use water should be cheap. Should be very cheap.
Yeah.
And the Envirolu is, as I explained, quite an intricate system. Yeah. And it's not cheap. It's not the cheapest that you would think. Yeah. And to spend money on a new technology is challenging for people, and they find it maybe a bit of an obstacle. Okay. But you have to look at what you do with a flush toilet. I mean, you don't just buy the toilet pots. You have to put water in that toilet. True. And water is expensive. True. And then you have to pay the rates with the municipality, or you have to get a honeysucker to get the septic tank emptied. So we must look at the lifetime cost of a toilet and not only look at the purchase cost. And that's the same with solar. So that's why I'm comparing the two a little bit. I think it will still maybe take a bit of time for Namibians to start embracing it, but it makes so much sense in a desert, climate.
Sure.
Not to put water down the toilet, but use it for agriculture, use it for drinking, use it for your cattle, use it for your goats, etc. Wow. And not use it just to flush away number 2 and number 1.
You are now, of course, collaborating with Polycare Blocks on a toilet facility at the Dagbreek School for learners with special needs. Tell us a little bit about that project.
Okay, it's our first real collaboration, and Polycare is obviously also bringing a new product into the market. So we have both companies have similar challenges, and we thought, let's work together and bring the two into one project so that we can showcase. What we found in Namibia is that people want to touch and they want to feel and they want to experience this new building material. And we thought at this particular school, it's very centrally located. We can really showcase decision makers, politicians, people in education, people in who want to improve the living conditions in high density areas. Yeah. Farmers can come and have a look and see if this particular toilet will work for them. And then the good thing is that this is not the main toilet facility at Dagbreek. Okay. It is situated between the hostel and the school, and it's really for the use in the afternoon when the kids are doing some activities. They're not at school, they're not at the hostel necessarily. Some areas are closed for the kids, and to really have a facility close by to where they're doing their activities. Say, for example, they do some soccer or they do some other activities, so that they have access to a toilet in the meantime.
I love it. Absolutely.
And I think it's a good collaboration. It looks like we're going to do something else in Okahanja at a kindergarten, and slowly but surely show people that this is a very handsome toilet solution.
I definitely cannot wait to see it. Of course, you are tuned into your favorite radio station, 99 FM, and we are talking to Dr. Eline van der Linden. She is, of course, the owner of Omuramba Impact Investing. Let me get that one right. And we are talking all about the water-friendly sanitation in Namibia, something that she is working on promoting at this point in time, and it's called EnviroLoo. What are your plans with EnviroLoo going forward from this point?
Well, obviously showcasing, obviously beating the drum a little bit.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for this opportunity also in the media.
You're
It
welcome.
helps. I mean, it helps to get the word out.
Yeah.
And then we would like to engage more with architects and quantity surveyors and engineers so that they also become more comfortable in including the EnviroLoo in their designs. We have one architect in Namibia who already specifies the EnviroLoo for a lot of rural schools and rural facilities. We have the EnviroLoo at Tweevelfontein, for example, at the World Heritage Site. So it also depends on who is doing the designs of buildings, whether they even consider water-friendly sanitation. Obviously, when you make a 10-story high building, you can't work with the EnviroLoo. We are not... We're not being unrealistic here, but in many buildings it can be included.
Yeah.
And we want to beat the drum, get the word out, take people to the site so that they can see how the toilet works, and blow some new energy into water-friendly sanitation. It has been a difficult ride, and we've been up against a lot of resistance because people typically don't like change. But we believe it is such a good product that we must keep at it until we get traction, until we get sufficient orders. And then we hope to bring the production to Namibia. At the moment we get the toilets from Johannesburg. And obviously the additional transport is not helping either.
For sure.
So if we can localize the production based on sufficient orders, that would be our next step in the development of the EnviroLoo in Namibia.
Oh, thank you so much for taking our time to, of course, talk to us this morning on 99 FM. Any final words that you'd like to share with our 99 FM listeners?
Open your heart to change. Open your heart to change. There's so many interesting products out there. There's so many interesting solutions for social problems that we have in Namibia. We cannot sit back and relax when close to 1 million people in Namibia don't have access to a toilet.
True.
That is just not the Namibia that we want for Namibia and for the people who live here.
Definitely.
So we need to step it up. We just have to step it up. There's no other way.
Dr. van der Linden, thank you so much once again for taking out your time to talk to us this morning. We wish you a fantastic one, and thank you so much for what you're doing for the Namibian community.
Nishan, thank you very much. It was an awesome conversation. Thank you.
It was MYD Earth here on 99 FM. We've got Road Trip when we return. MYD Earth was proudly brought to you by Polycare Namibia, empowering Namibians to build a sustainable future.